Right then, 2025, but we got it out. So as you can see, it's covered in because I covered it in bike spray, so it needs a damn good wash. And as you might evidence by the green stripe on this back tyre, we've got the new back tyre mounted. And there's a few things I want to do. So first of all, we never did the seals in that caliper, and I've got some new pads for that as well, so I want to do that. And the clutch, I've got new clutch pads for it. I've got the gasket that goes around that lump down there. So yeah, we've got the clutch still to do, and there's a lot more tidy up work to do. Oh, something I noticed right at the back of last year, just as I was putting the bike away, I noticed this crack in this seat, and I had a look at the rest of it and thought, oh, that's a shame, you know, just for this one crack. So I've got some vinyl repair stuff that you can actually essentially stitch that back together, cover it in some vinyl. It doesn't look perfect, but can't seem to find seat covers for these anymore, and seats are a couple £100 a piece, so I figured I'd repair it. But then I looked at this side, and I didn't even notice this last year. We got a crack here, this is, and it's basically cracked all the way down here, series of them. There's one here, one here, one here, there's lots of them. So all that is cracked all along that section. This is all cracked, and if you touch this, in fact, hang on, let me tap it with my fingernail. It's quite hard. It's not so bad here and here, it's literally just where it's cracking, it's gone hard. So we'll have to have another look for that. We've not fared too bad over winter, but we have picked up some aluminium oxide top of this cover, and a bit more here, look, powdery. So yeah, we'll give it a good clean and see where we stand then. But before we start messing about with any of this, what I really want to know is it going to start now? Before I do this, just because I never trust these things, this is out of gear, but that back wheel is touching the ground even though it's on the centre stand, and that threw me for a while until I realised the decking's curved and that is sitting right on the lower bit. I don't know if you can just see that piece of decking there slightly higher than the other one. Back wheel's touching, so I need to move it. So I'm going to do that first, then we'll come back and we'll see if it's going to start. I wouldn't normally worry. Hondas are, all the old Hondas I've got have always been the same. If you leave them sat for more than a week, they don't really want to start. They'll start, but they don't really want to. And I've found a fresh battery, which I haven't done, I haven't charged it up. A fresh battery and a bit of patience, make sure you've got some fuel flowing. They usually come back to life. But let's see. I mean, the problem is modern petrol, it's just garbage. So this has been, whatever petrol's in there has been sat in the tank now for 4 months, 5 months. So it will be absolutely garbage. This thing's going to cough and fart and backfire. And it won't stop until I go and put some more fuel in it. So, although I want to do the back brakes, they're fine. I mean, you know, there's oodles of pedal and they stop really well, but I've just got the seals, they're old seals, I don't want them to start leaking. I've got a set of pads, so I'll just do them. And the clutch really is on its last legs, so I really should do that, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is get it fired up, and if it does, I'm going to throw a backpack on the back, on my back, drive up to the shops, buy some bacon, and then come home again. And while I'm at it, I might nip round to the garage, fill it up with some nice fresh fuel. Yeah, that's a better plan, isn't it? And then we'll get the spanners out later. Right, let me just move it. Right, that sounds better than it is. That's not running on 4, but it's running. All right, so that is not running on 4 cylinders. So I'm gonna have a bit of a mess around. We'll just, you know, do things like pull the caps off, check they're clean, but we know where it's going to be, don't we? Ah, dent. I need to lift that seat off and see what's going on with that filter, so let's do that. So that was interesting. So I'm just going to do some carb adjustments, just make sure needles aren't stuck. So it's, we'll loosen these off and just make sure we've got petrol to these carbs. I'm just going to give the other side a tap. I think we might have stuck floats. Let's go get a flat screwdriver. Okay, let's have a look what we get out of here, shall we? We got fuel there. A little yellow, but not horrible. And then all the way through there. Come on. Here we go. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, we got fuel there. Let's try the other two. Yep, plenty of fuel there. And oh god, let's get underneath, see what I'm doing. And yeah, we got fuel there as well. Oops. And now I can't get the screwdriver back in. Okay, so we got fuel there, and I'm going to make the assumption that if we've got fuel there, let's have a quick look under here, shall we? Best check that filter, see what's happened to that over winter. Yeah, there's a little bit of crud in there, but not enough to stop it working, and I don't think that's going to be forcing anything down past that. I might take it off and clean it, but not yet. I think that's fine to run it on for now. Come on, go in. Right, so maybe it just needs running for a bit longer. Let's crack it on, give it a bit of throttle and see what happens. So I've got no idea what that's aiming at, but it's roughly in the right direction. certainly running on 4 now, but you can hear it backfiring. It's yeah, I think that's tested. Let's take it out for a spin. Right, that looks a bit better. Just put 30 miles on it. Oh yeah, and almost fell off. I keep forgetting, totally forgot. Brand new back tyre. I mean, you see I've started to scrub some of it off, but yeah, I've only been riding on, hang on, I've only been riding on that bit really. Went down the bottom of my street, turned the corner, wound the throttle, back end skidded around all over the place. Thought I was off, and then remembered, yeah, you've got to break new tyres in, haven't you? 100 miles. So anyway, we've done 30, not really started pushing it round corners yet. But yeah, changed the back tyre because I didn't like the other one because it was skiddy. Put the exact same tyre on, and now I've got to break it in and it's skiddy. Never mind. But yeah, 30 miles, blew the cobwebs out of it. Starts really nice now. It's still a little bit of something on low end. I've got to balance these carbs, and I've got to admit it, I'm avoiding it. And the only reason I'm avoiding it is you've got to get right-handed screwdrivers, and I've got one, or right-angled screwdrivers. I do have one. That you've got to get in, but it takes 2 hands to hold that to turn the screw. Yeah, it takes 2 hands to turn the screws, and so you need about 4 hands. So I'm gonna do it, but it's near enough for now. I just need somebody to give me a hand. So getting lots of lots of shots of the bike here with me not doing much. I think the next thing we'll concentrate on, and I'm not going to bother uploading this video until I'm actually doing some work, but I think we'll do this brake caliper, change the seals, pop the pistons out, give them a good clean out, new seals in, push the pistons back in, and then bleed it. I've got a new set of pads to put in as well. Then the back brakes, same as the front brakes, all been done. I'm not sure whether I'm going to replace this or not. It's working, it's old, and they can get really restricted. But this one seems to be fine, so there's no cracks in that brake hose. It is old, but we'll just keep an eye on that, I think. Yeah. I do need to know how to get dents out. Not something I've had a go before. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this one. This one looks like it's got a bit of a crease, but that one there, just if I get to the other side of it with my thumb, I could just push it out. So maybe we'll try one of those glue stick things that you pull. And the only reason I'm a little bit nervous about that is this is really old single stage paint. And I don't want it lifting off. Right then, getting a few of these out now after being away for winter. I just want to explore that old adage of ran when parked. So this is the one that starts every single time. I've just put a fresh battery in it because got it out of storage, and as per usual I forgot to charge the batteries up over winter, so this battery was dead, so it's had a new one. Not tried to start it yet. But also what else was wrong with this one? the main beam had gone, so bulb replacement, but not bad on that one. This one, which was put away I think May, June time last year, so about a year ago. Again, not tried to start it yet, but do have a fork seal that's leaking. So, you see, the thing is with these, they don't need an MOT. I don't have to take this to test, but I have to maintain it in a roadworthy condition. So if I get pulled over and they find something like that, I'm in trouble for it. The same way you would be even if it had a test. You've still got to look for these things. So, you know, it's a case of going through like you'd expect an MOT person to do, checking all the indicators work, checking the lights, checking the brakes, looking for leaks on fork seals, checking the bearings. So it's not that these things don't need an annual test. It's just that you're the one that's got to do it. So, back to this one, and a job that I've been putting off forever. Get these chain and sprockets done. But what I did, and I've got no idea if these are going to fit or not, none whatsoever. These are off a CM250C 1982 to 84. This is a CM250T 1981. So, will they fit? And I've got no idea if the length of chain, i.e. the distance between the centre of that and the centre of the shaft at the front, the distance of the chain going round them changes, so the number of links that you need in the chain alters. So this could be a waste of money. If that's a 104 link chain, I believe. If this takes less than 104 links, or 104 links, it is a 520 chain, which that is as well, pitch. So I could always get a chain splitter and knock a couple of links off that and use these existing sprockets if the sprockets don't fit. But if it's any more than 104 links on that one, it ain't gonna work. So yeah, what I want to do first, I think, is I'm going to take the chain off this bike, and before I do anything else, I'm going to count the number of links. I know that's got 104, so let's just make sure before we start getting into taking this completely down, because we've got to take, to do this, we've got to take the back wheel off. Easy. We've got to take the gear selector off, that side cover off. To get to the front sprocket, then it's just 2 bolts essentially hold the front sprocket on. Back sprocket, a bit more complicated, but we'll come back to that when I've got the wheel off. But first job, let's find the master link, split link on this chain and take it off. And when we've done with all of this, we've got the back wheel back on, I've been surprised quite recently by the number of people that don't know how and when to adjust the chain. So I'm gonna have to do this one, so we'll do it then. But just to give you an example, I'm lifting this from roughly the middle of the span between the front and back sprockets, and I'm just lifting it up. And you want about, on this bike, yeah, let's call it an inch of play. This has got well over that. So this chain is well loose and needs adjusting. The problem is it's right at the end of the adjusters, which means that chain has stretched as far as you want it to stretch. You can keep tightening that up if you've got the adjustment, but all you're going to do with that chain is getting stretched and stretched and stretched, which they do over their life. If you over tighten it when you come to adjust it, it'll stretch. So you need to be checking these, and the way to do it, just find the center point here. For each bike it's going to be different, the amount of play, but if you work on an inch, maybe an inch and a bit, you know, that sort of, it's not exact, but this is too much. This is a loose chain. Okay? You want it to be literally coming up about that far and not being tight. Not as this one is, you know, disappearing up into the heavens. So this chain's had it. The sprockets themselves, well, they're actually all right. I'd reuse these. Well, I haven't seen the front one yet, but I'd reuse that back one. But I do want to change it. I want to try and buy, you know, less teeth on the front. I want to just get more revolutions out of the back wheel. It's not going to be much, but if I can get this to run nicely at 60 miles an hour and screaming its tits off maybe at 65, 70, this bike, it'll transform this bike. At the moment, I don't like riding it too far because as soon as I get on a dual carriageway, something like that, I have to absolutely scream this engine. And it's a 40-year-old engine. I don't want to do that. So let's see if we can, you know, re-gear it a bit just by changing the chain and sprockets. So that's the aim of this little job. Okay, so chain off. You need to obviously find the master link, which is this thing here, and then you can just push that off, you know, with a pair of pliers like that. Okay, same when you come to put these back on, don't struggle, just put the pliers over the little nipple and give it a squeeze. Done. Right, so counter that, it's 104 links. The way to count these, by the way, a lot of people get this wrong. For each one of these raised bits, that's a link. Okay, and I say that because at this end, where the master link goes through, you've got a hole but no raised bit here, whatever these things are called. So count the number of those, and the way to do that is when you've got two like that, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you keep going up to the other end of it. This one's 52, double it up, 104. So 104 links, which is the same as that one. So worst case scenario here is I use that chain and we don't use them. But essentially, I don't even know if that chain's going to fit in the space we've got available with those sprockets on. So next job, I'm going to carry on. So next job is, well, we've got it like this. Check the bearings, they look nice. And then you've got inside here, we'll have a look at them when we get the sprocket off. But next job, take the sprocket off. It's a case of undoing these bolts, and as you can see, that means wheel off. So this out, and then socket or a spanner on there. You need something on the other side because that is a axle, it'll just turn. So big socket, undo that. This will have quite a lot of tension on it. We'll get that off, slide out the axle, and then we should be able to get the wheel out. I say should because it's gonna hit the fender. We'll see. We'll just wobble it and get it out. If needs be, take the shocks off, then the arm will go up and get out of our way. Okay, so back wheel off. A couple of things I forgot. You need to, without losing that bit, you need to undo the back brake adjuster and this, which goes on this. Okay, there's your back brake rod, and as you can see, this thing's absolutely clattered up with grime, so we're going to give that a good clean off and re-grease that when we put it all back together as well. Gives us an opportunity to have a look in here and just check swing arm. Yeah, dirty, a little bit of rust, nothing we're going to worry about today. And obviously spacer goes in between the wheel and the edge of the swing arm here, and these are your adjusters. Now these, we'll have to adjust these out, and we're going to have to So we're going to have to make sure that the wheel is in line when we put all this back together. It's not too bad when you're just adjusting your brakes, because basically what you do, if you've got, say, an inch of play, loosen this lock nut that's on here and just wind that in to pull this backwards, and however many you put on one side, you put the same on the other side, wheel stays in line. So half a turn at a time on both sides, check your tension, another half turn if you need it, check your tension, loosen it off if you need to, drag it back. But at all times when you're adjusting these, adjust them by the same amount. You don't have to worry too much about your wheel being in line, because it will be. So back wheel's off, that's that. We just got 4 bolts now to sorry, 4 nuts. We'll take them off. Watch it, because that's another spacer, don't want to lose that. We'll take that off, and then we're going to swap out this sprocket. I just want to grab the other one and just see what difference this makes. Now this is a 41 tooth sprocket, so I'm going to go count the teeth on that one and we'll see what that one is. Okay, so JTR blah 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 41. Okay, so that's a 41 inch sprocket, so that essentially should be the same size and diameter as the one that's already on it, which in one sense is good because we've got a new back sprocket, so what, but it's not going to affect, like I wanted it to, the top end speed. This however may do, because this is a 15 tooth. If it's 15, hey ho, we've just got some new sprockets, it'll be the exact same as it was, new chain, don't have to worry about it for a while, but we won't get that speed change that we wanted. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to crack on, get that swapped out, and we'll come back when I've got that in and we'll compare it up then. Okay, progress. I completely forgot about something. This thing here slots round around that, and then there's a shim and a huge circlip, and then a dust cover that basically go around the top of this and hold all this in place. This, not sure how that fits in there, because it went on the other one fine, but that's what hammers are for. Smack it with a Tonya Harding. Right, so I've got these still to tighten up. This is a new sprocket, obviously. It's exactly the same as the other one. Just so while we're looking at this one, I thought I'd better point some stuff out. So this sprocket's not particularly bad, but it does have some signs of wear, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the camera, but if you look at the shape of that, you see how this one's just a U shape. If you look at this one, that slope there is different to this slope here, and there's wear on each one of these. See how it's ground its way in here, and they're not quite U-shaped. This side's fine, that's the same as the other one. This side's being ground off. So although it's not a bad one, it does have some wear. As I said, I bought this chain and sprocket kit with, it needed a new chain. I bought the chain and sprocket kit more to try and change the gearing, but I don't think I'm going to get it. Depends on what happens with that front sprocket. We might be in with an extra 5 miles an hour on the top end, which is all I'm looking for. Right, so I'm going to put all this lot back together, get it slapped back on the bike, but I'm not going to tighten everything up because we've still got to take that front cover off, still got to take the sprocket off there. So let's get this on, that off. It's just a bunch of Allen bolts. You know, take your time, don't snap them. And you've got to take the gear selector off because shaft comes through that cover. So I'm going to get these off and then I'll report back. Oh well, new sprockets in, cover off. A lot of rust inside here. Really strange, never seen it like that before. I think I sealed it up too well. Anyway, this sprocket that I've taken off, same size as the one I'm putting back on, so I'm not going to get the speed change I was looking for, but okay. New chain and sprockets are in. It desperately needed a new chain. Yeah, these sprockets are worn. They're not horrible. I'd use them for get another 10,000 miles out of them, but they are worn. So we'll just put the get the new chain back on. Getting the new chain back on is a bit of a pig because you've got to try and get it inside here, and I don't want to take this off. That's a pain to take off, although actually it's not. But I'm going to persevere and do it anyway. But you just got to thread something back there and pull the chain through with it. At the moment I've got this in gear so that I could tighten those two bolts up. Don't worry about this being loose, it's supposed to be. Literally, this has got splines on that match this shaft. This has as well, but it goes on, turns to line up those holes, and then it no longer goes over the shaft, so it can't come any further this way. So that's it, and then you bolt through into the cog. So the cog is not held to the shaft, it's held to this plate which can't come off the shaft. Hope that makes sense. So just in case now, I've reassembled the back end. It's all loose, so just got to thread the chain on, put the master link in. Hopefully it fits. Yeah, it should do. It's the same as the one I've just taken off, to be honest. So the only difference should be that I'm going to have to move those adjusters all the way so the wheel slides all the way forward, because otherwise it ain't going to go on. So I'm going to do that now. And done. Okay, so we put that case back on, chains in, connected. We've adjusted the tension. As you can see, there is still about an inch of slack in here, and when I say slack, I mean I'm not talking I'm pushing against it, it's slack. So an inch of slack's what it wants. It's probably a bit loose, that, but I'm going to leave it for now, because you'll find with new chains that initially you put them on and within a couple of weeks you need to retension them again, then they're good. But they do have a little bit of a bed in that just makes them a little bit loose, so not too worried about that. A couple of things I noticed while I was putting it together, thought worth mentioning, because I forget about it all the time. So as you adjust these things, you're moving the position of this wheel backwards and forwards. Okay, now that's your rear brake. So first thing is you need to adjust up your rear brake. Just make sure you've not got, you know, too much play. Wind that in, click at a time if not. But the other thing you do need to check is your rear brake light, because this pedal, as in most bikes, pulls on a spring which goes to this little thing here, and that is your rear brake light. Now I can't tell, but you can see that moving just there. Okay, so the question is, as it is now, the brake light should be off. When that starts moving, brake light should come on, and it should do it before you really, just before you hit that. And if not, you adjust the nut on this and move that up and down. So you must check your rear brake and adjust this as required. So I don't know until I sit on it, but I'll sit on that, put my foot on that, see if that feels where it should be. If not, I'll adjust it again, then we'll check this. Okay, but don't forget to check that rear brake. Make sure your rear brake's light's not on, and if it is, you need to adjust that switch. So that's it there for now. I think what we'll do, let's turn the fuel on. I've already drained these bowls. Some nasty looking yellow fluid came out of them, but that was couple of days ago, so I'm just seeing if they start peeing fuel out, which would indicate a stuck float valve, but they don't seem to be doing. Now there could be no fuel in either of them, but we can check that just by opening the petcock opening the fuel drain screws on the float bowls and just see if we get fuel out. Of course, would help if I had the keys. Let me go grab them. Right, so still no fuel leaking. Look, I'm not worried about this bike. I have charged the battery and I have drained those bowls, just switched the fuel on. Battery looks good. It always wants full choke when it's been sat for a while, and it's going to start as soon as I touch this. Maybe not. Ooh. There she goes. Just let her have a bit of choke for a minute. Oh. Oh dear. I don't think we're getting... Look, when I try and crank the throttle on. There you go. Let's let her warm up for a minute. That's better. That's what it should be doing. Why did it just suddenly... Oh, because the choke dropped in. We'll just leave it. Let her warm up. Always starts this one. Just give it a minute. We should be able to rev it then. Dear. I don't know how old this petrol is, to be honest. Could be a couple of years old, so maybe needs some fresh, but let's just, it's been sat for 8 months. Let's just let it come back round. But let's leave that one ticking over and let's see if this little annoying thing will start. I'm saying annoying thing because it's not horrible, but I've just got a little bit of a leak coming round. Look, don't like that. So we're probably going to have to do these seals again. There's some very slight pitting here, and I might just run I've got some very fine files that'll just take the rough edge off of that. I'm just wondering if that's what's caused it to go, because this one's fine. Not a thing on this one, but this, yeah, you can see it. It's not horrible. It's not peeing out, but it's not right. So let's go grab the keys for that one. Okay. Oh! First turn. Beautiful. I have got full choke on, but other than that, all I did was drain the float bowls, let them fill back up with some fresher fuel. Oh, would help. I'll turn that back on. I think this needs some fresh fuel, but other than that, it's fine. So we'll have a look at brakes on both of these, give them a good once over, make sure everything's as it should be. We're not just going to take them straight out. We need to just check things like this. Look, a lot of the times this goes away. You've been sat for a while, wipe it off, see if it comes back. Don't come back, it's fine. If it's peeing out and you've got big puddles on the floor, you need to do something about it. But tell you what, let's turn these off. Beautiful bike. Not sure about this. That's better. I think it just needed to warm up a bit, clear its throat. So, alright, again, bike with no MOT. What am I going to check? I'm going to check the front wheel bearing, make sure that's okay. I'm going to check the play in the head here. Just brakes on backwards and forwards, you can see it. I'm going to make sure that the steering's not binding and make sure the brakes aren't binding. Test the brakes, have a look at the pads. I've already, because we've just had that back wheel off, I also had the opportunity to pull the brakes out the back wheel. Let's just turn this off, hang on. Okay, so we also had the brakes out the back wheel. The brake shoes are worn, but they've got life left in them, so we're not doing them now, but I've checked them, cleaned them out. What else are we going to do? We'll check, you know, check suspension, make sure that this is not bouncing and it's got some oil in it. But give it a good once over. Most of the stuff that it's going to fail on is pretty obvious, but you know, it doesn't take much. Get somebody to sit on the back seat while it's on the centre stand. That'll get your front wheel off the ground and you can have a feel at the bearing, make sure it rolls all right, make sure the front wheel's not binding on the brakes. Give it a good look over. You'll see this when you take a bike that needs testing to a testing station and just watch what they do. There's no magical science with this stuff because we're not checking emissions. It just doesn't matter on these. There's no electronics on it to speak of. So, you know, as long as it's not weeing fuel out everywhere, you've got a massive fuel leak and the exhaust not blowing and the brakes aren't leaking all over the place and you haven't got hydraulic fluid running down your forks and, you know, it's use your common sense. Would you want to ride it in this state? And I'm looking at this now. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to keep my eye on that because it's very slightly damp there. Okay, which is what that one was, but that one just seems a little bit worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a mental note that I've seen that, and I'm going to give this a damn good wipe. So I've got it all off, and then we'll see if that comes back. Now you expect a little bit because there's going to be some up behind here, but you know, the other thing is pull these off, see if you've got a big pool of something underneath there. Doesn't take much doing. So bit more to do and check out with these, but they're both running. We've got a new chain and sprockets on this one now. I've replaced the bulb that failed while it was, oh yeah, check all your bulbs. I've still got to check the back brake light on this one, make sure that's all right after we've changed the chain and sprockets. Nice BMW just went past. And then we're going to go for a ride, I think, on this one. And then maybe on that one. So that's 3 we've got up and running. The V65 next. Still need to take that front wheel off and get the tyre turned the right way around. That's the main thing that's bothering me on that. It still needs the clutch doing, but doesn't seem to be slipping anymore. So let's get a few miles out of the existing clutch. Maybe we'll do that later in here. What else is to do on the V65 Magna? Very little now. We still got to pull the dents out the tank. I was going to do that today, but then decided to do this instead. But yeah, you know, get the clutch done. I've got the parts for it, and that one's done. The V45, I've pulled that out. It's in the back garden. We're going to do that one next. And I'm probably not going to film all of it because I've got to take the carbs off. So I'll show you the difference between the V65 and the V45 when you're taking the carbs off. It's about 1/4 of an inch and it makes a heck of a lot of difference. A lot harder to get them out of the V45. But the only reason I'm taking them off is to replace a fuel transfer tube that's cracked. And then that should be done, that bike. So, yeah, we're looking for another project soon. But for now, thanks for watching.